Hello everyone and welcome back to another beta bug rock. It is a good time to be a fan of the wild update. 20 new goat horns have been added to Minecraft, including the copper goat horn, and there are now 80 unique sounds associated with these things. Basically, these are musical instruments inside of Minecraft. Minecraft Java has also gotten its first 1.19 snapshot this week, introducing a ton of things, including the new mud and mangrove blocks. It is a very good time to be a fan of 1.19. I'm a Bedrock player, so we're going to cover all the Bedrock features and then go ahead and poke around in the Java snapshots and look at all the pretty new blocks. Goat horns are the only new 1.19 feature in this week's Bedrock beta, so you can find goat horns in the Pillager Outpost, and there are 10 different types of the regular goat horn. You can see all the different versions here, and each one of these has one unique sound associated with it. The only other way of getting a goat horn is from a goat in the wild, so sometimes a naturally spawned goat will only have one horn. As you can see here, it looks really silly, and if you breed goats or find a baby goat, these guys will always grow up to have two horns, like this dude right here. Don't scream at me. That's very rude. The only way to get a goat horn besides from the Pillager Outpost is to have a goat with at least one horn ram into one of these blocks, and that includes any wood type from the overworld. You might be wondering why the ores and packed ice are included in this list, and that is because these generate in the sides of mountaintops, where you are oftentimes going to find goats. Good luck getting a goat to actually ram something, because even if you got a whole pen of them and you allow them to jump around all crazily, they're very rarely going to actually ram into something. I've been sitting in here for like 10 minutes now. They've rammed a couple times, but not actually lost a horn. Aha! I finally did get one. So basically what you need to do is you need to trick a goat into trying to ram you and then dodge out of the way and have them ram into some stone or whatnot. So as you can see, that goat down there actually dropped a goat horn, and that is the urn version. Thinking about it, you could probably automate this system. Goat horn farm, anybody? Let me know in the comments. Every goat will drop a different goat horn. It's basically randomized per goat, and there are 10 different base goat horns. If you have a screaming goat, then you can get a special goat horn from that one. I'm not sure which ones they drop, but they definitely drop the urn version. The cooldown for the goat horn has been increased to like 10 seconds. It's very, very slow, so it makes trying out all the different sounds kind of a long-winded process. But as you can see, we can hold down the button, and we get kind of a exasperated sound. But wait, there's more! If you take a regular goat horn and put that in the crafting table with 3 copper ingots, you can craft it into a copper goat horn, and each one of these has 3 different unique sounds attached to it, meaning that there is a total of 80 unique sounds if you collect every single goat horn. And basically, these things are a one-for-one, conversion. So when you look them up in the creative menu, the order that they appear in is the order that they convert in. So the third goat horn, Seek, converts into the third copper horn, Pure Water Desire. There's 3 different ways to use the copper goat horns. The first way is to crouch. The second way is to be doing literally anything else. And the third is to look straight up. So as you can see, if you're crouching, it's low pitched. If you're just standing still, it's medium pitched. And if you're looking up, then it is very high pitched. So each one of these has 3 different sound effects lining up with those basic mechanics. And currently, these things are just for fun and just for musical interest inside of Minecraft. They don't have any other functionality besides being fun. And you gotta admit, this is kind of fun. Everything goat horns is going to be coming in 1.19, but we also have a couple of bug fixes in this beta, likely releasing in 1.18.30. The first major bug fix is whenever you kill a pillager captain, you will now actually get the bad omen effect. Previously in these betas, you would not get bad omen from it, and that is a very good thing to be fixed. We don't need more broken raid farms. I don't need a raid farm V12. In other furnace-related news, the nether bricks, nuggets, brown mushroom blocks, and chorus blocks can no longer be used as a fuel. That is right, these things were actual fuel sources in Minecraft Bedrock Edition due to a bug. Weirdly enough, you could actually smelt anything using a nether brick, which kind of makes sense because nether brick, but also it took like 10 bricks to smelt an item. It was pretty terrible. And you could also use all of these other things apparently as well, but that is no longer the case in Minecraft Bedrock Edition. None of these things can be used as a fuel anymore. Moving over to Snapshot 22W11A, they have added 26 new blocks and items to the game in the form of the mangrove wood and of course the mud blocks as well. So here is all the mangrove wood items, the boats, the doors, the fence gates and the trapdoors and all those things. We got the mangrove propagule and then the log varieties, the roots and muddy roots, along with the stripped log varieties, the wood, and of course the actual, full bark log as well. And then we got the mangrove leaves, which are very interesting. And then of course that takes us into the mud. We got the mud bricks, which looks so good. This is a lovely color palette. We got the actual packed mud, mud brick slabs, mud in general, and then of course the muddy mangrove roots. Not gonna lie, I might build an entire base just out of mud. That is a beautiful texture. It is worth mentioning that the muddy roots are directional like logs, so you can either place them vertical like that, or you can have them horizontal like this, and then of course there's also the end textures over here. Even though the wood looks like it's made out of beetroots, it still makes for some pretty good builds, even when you just convert a villager house into the color palette, and honestly, it's not too bad. I can't wait to see what everyone does with this amazing build palette. Here you can see all 26 of the new items in item form, and can we just appreciate how Mojang had to add 19 new item types just for the mangrove tree alone? That is kind of ridiculous. Currently, the mangrove trees and swamps are not yet in the game. However, we do have a couple basic mechanics. We know that we can bone meal the propagules, which are basically just saplings. Right now, they turn into oak trees. That is a temporary mechanic. However, you can bone meal the actual mangrove leaves, and that will give you a teeny tiny little propagule on the bottom side of it. So you can actually farm the saplings without breaking the leaves or chopping down the tree. So if we bone meal this little propagule, that'll grow into different stages. So as you can see, there are 4 different stages to these little propagules, and they're looking pretty fantastic. I love their texture. And of course, these things will grow up over time on their own. They don't need to be bone mealed, and you can just punch these in survival to harvest them. One of the unique mechanics of the propagules is that you can actually grow them underwater, unlike all other saplings in the game. It takes a little while, but if you bone meal these, then you actually get yourself an oak tree, and eventually this will give you a mangrove tree. Now, as you can see, these leaves are not waterlogged, which actually gives it kind of a cool effect, and this might be a good way to get some air bubbles in survival. But of course, this is a snapshot, so that is bound to change in the future. Mud also has a couple different mechanics to it, so if you stand on it, you'll sink down just a little bit, but it doesn't actually slow you down at all. Similar to soul sand, you'll sink down the same amount, but soul sand, of course, actually slows you. So as you can see by the F3 screen, if we step onto the mud, we dip down just a teeny tiny bit. When it comes to the crafting recipes for everything, all of the wood stuff is as you would expect it. Once you farm a couple mangrove trees, you'll be able to do all of these standard crafting recipes to get everything that you want. So the mud crafting recipes are actually quite interesting. You can take some mangrove roots and some mud, and that'll actually give you the muddy mangrove roots, so you can craft those. And then you can take straight up mud and wheat, and that'll give you the packed mud. So if you have a whole bunch of packed mud, you can turn those into the mud bricks. Once you have mud bricks, you can turn those into slabs, and you can turn those into walls, and of course into stairs as well. And of course, the stone cutter also makes your life easier on this front too. If you have some mud bricks, you can craft those directly into these things and save some resources using the stone cutter. It has to be mud bricks, it cannot be the packed mud, however. You can also craft the mud blocks directly in-game just by clicking on a piece of dirt with a water bottle, and as you can see, that actually converts it straight into mud. This is honestly going to make terraforming kind of interesting, although these bottles don't stack, do they? Yeah, you're going to want to automate this. Mangrove roots and muddy mangrove roots are not something to be overlooked. These are basically a transparent leaf block that can conduct redstone and has some funky water mechanics. So as you can see, the regular roots and muddy roots all conduct redstone in the standard ways that you would expect them to. The regular roots actually let beacon beams through them, and these also reduce light levels at the same rate as regular oak leaves or whatever else you want to use. So they're basically the same in that regard. However, However, you can waterlog these things and the water does not flow. Like, it's a container of water that just kind of stays there. And then if you put it inside of a water source, yeah, check that out. That is so cool. This is an entirely unique mechanic just to the mangrove roots. It is basically a solid block that is waterlogged, and that is actually pretty interesting. So, of course, the first thing that came to mind for that was a cobble generator, and that is a pretty cool thing. There's probably like 1,000 different things you can do with this, but that is going to be amazing for compaction in different redstone circuits, because you can build redstone directly on top of this, and it is like not affected at all. This is a wonder block. I really like it. This is some cursed Minecraft right here, guys. Like, if anything is cursed in Minecraft, this is cursed. It is worth mentioning that you can't waterlog the muddy ones, and you also cannot lava log the roots either, which is kind of a missed opportunity. I really want to have lava logging in the game at some point. It was a missed opportunity in 1.13, and it's still a missed opportunity in 1.19. The tools of choice for the roots is the axe, and the tool of choice for the muddy roots is the shovel. Of course, the tool of choice for all the bricks is the pickaxe, and for the mud, it is the shovel. Interestingly, if you want to check out all the 1.19 features, you kind of need to be cross-platform right now. You need to go to Bedrock Edition for the Allay and the goat horns. You need to go to Java for the warden and the mangrove stuff. It'll be nice once all the features are consolidated into their own versions. That way we can play with all features cohesively, because right now you can't try out the goat horns with the warden, and I really just want to do that. That's all I want to do, Mojang. Come on. I am curious as to why they're forcing everyone to go to Java for certain features and to Bedrock for certain features. It's a bit of a weird thing, but I guess it is what it is. If you enjoyed today's video, then of course consider dropping a like, as it helps out the video and the channel a ton. If you're new here, then maybe consider subscribing to help us reach 500,000. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you down in the comments, and then there was Soylence.